thank you all for joining this call. This is part of the Career Go sessions where we help empower, enable everybody to use their superpowers and find the job they love in these difficult times. And our goal is ambitious. We want to get at least 1,000 plus people to be hired in 2021. So we need your help to achieve that goal. Already some people got hired in the past few weeks, and some others are on the way. Hopefully, finger crossed, as they say. So let's see. So we're asking, engage and ask questions and connect with each other and subscribe to the YouTube channel to get the learnings. The coming up sessions, how to create great rapport when talking to employers. This is going to be this Sunday at 10 a.m. So please join that call. It's important for you. And next Thursday, our great Mike Jibara is going to take us to a journey on what's happening on the inside of the recruitment world. He will share, what's happening on the other side of the recruitment. Thank you, Mike. So today, the topic is the future of work. I'm going to explain a little bit about, the industry shift, what's happening and the importance of learning and development of new skills to stay in the market. And also, what are the opportunities that you can leverage to be always employable and ahead of the market. So a little bit about me, again, I'm a Canadian citizen, immigrant. I came in 2014. I faced lots of challenges, and I was almost getting to be depressed because I couldn't find the job that I want, until I realized that I have to work on myself. I have to learn and understand what I need to do to get back to the market. So I started to share what I learned with people, mentor, coach, and I managed to help 100 plus people get into the job within 3 to 6 months. So today's topic, the future of work. So I want to just, before I dive into the topic, I want to get your thoughts. What do you think it will look like in 10 years from now? So if you have some thoughts about, what do you think life would be or work will be in the next 10 years? Does anyone have any idea? Do you want to maybe share in the chat or unmute? Tell me what's in your mind.
I can give a little bit of. Yeah, I mean, obviously, and in the picture you can see that kind of gives you a little bit of idea. But automation is going to be very a big thing in the future. Robotics, things like self-driving vehicles, right? Where you don't no longer have to commandeer the vehicle yourself. It's going to be self-driven. Things of that nature is going to be very common. So, and as a result of that, I think there's going to be a shift towards even more technology-related jobs to support those types of that type of industry. So,
absolutely,
that's what I see. Yeah.
Good point. Anyone else?
Just to add to that, you're absolutely right, because we deal with a big client, a Fortune 500 client, and their plan, their vision for the future is to automate all of their infrastructure globally. So imagine how many jobs are going to be, lost because of that. But they're looking at the future on how to, deal with the infrastructure, and automation is the key. That's their goal. So.
Yeah. Absolutely, yes. And that's the only way for them to compete today, because again, the competition is so high, and everybody's moving through low cost, try to reduce the cost through automation. So that's the key. Does anyone else want to share anything from your side?
Yeah, sure. So I think, especially with the pandemic, most of the company they feel now that how important it's to improve, and how robots and those things will be important in the future for them, so they can avoid those problems that pandemic, for example, are bringing to us. like getting people sick and those things. So I think now even the company that wasn't thinking about it, now they are starting to think about it and improve the technology and those things.
Good point, Thomas. Yes, and I agree that the pandemic accelerated this even further because, again, the virus, can be spread upon humans. So robots or automation would reduce this. So that's why, lots of companies are moving to the cloud. Lots of companies are doing those Zoom calls and virtual calls rather than, getting into meeting rooms like before. Okay, so that's a good, let's say refresher or starter about, the topic. So what I wanted to get you out of here today, again, understand the challenges and the opportunities in the market and understand the importance of the learning and data. Again, it's not just learning, it's also data. Like if you think about Amazon, for example, they started as a bookseller, now they are almost going to the moon, going to Mars and going to in the healthcare and other areas, and they're just selling data mostly right now. And we want to also discuss the traits of successful people today. Who could be successful? How can you be successful? And what are the skills required, the most today for you to be successful? Okay, so bit of good news, bad news, and we just discussed this already. So lots of jobs will be replaced by robots or automated. Again, we almost know that already. The self-driving car, the Uber is going to be automated. Human skills, not going to be used for those jobs. But the good news is that there is always going to be human skills needed for jobs. That's never going to go away. But the importance is to be having that skill that the employers need, or the skill that could give you value that those robots or those automations doesn't give. So, and that's what we will discuss in a few slides. The second good news is the future of work is learning. So if you are one of the persons who like to learn, like to explore and develop yourself, this is your future. This is where you really excel. If you don't like learning, it's gonna be tough. So this is what I can tell you on my end. So I'm gonna walk you through a bit of some charts, again, from Stats Canada and other areas. And the intent here is not to depress you, because some of those numbers could, give you a little bit of dark image, but I don't want you to think that way because there is tons of opportunities that is also available. So this graph is from Stats Canada, and it shows, how many businesses closed and how many businesses open in the last 1 year. So as you can see, the number of businesses closed, got up so high. So there is so many businesses that got closed in the last 1 year because of the pandemic. And again, Canada is depending on small business, SMBs, and those ones got affected the most. So they got hit and they had to close. And the number of businesses that's opening is reduced a lot as well. So the next one is also the same thing. This is just the industries based on highest year-over-year growth rate in April 2020, January 2015. So as you can see, accommodation and food services, those business almost closed. Those are affected the most. Other services except public administration, those ones also got affected a lot. Even retail, they affected a lot. So those businesses are the one that is suffering the most from the pandemic specifically. This one is to show you in the business close in the 4 largest provinces. So if you think about Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, British Columbia, again, depending on where you are, you will know how many businesses got affected. So if, for example, for Quebec, they are affected a lot. Ontario, it's affected also a lot, but it was already high. So again, this is just an indication of where, the issue is on business, and why the job market is suffering a little bit as well. Okay, so this one again show you a little bit of the numbers. The active business, the opening business, the continuing business, the closing business. Over the months in the past year. So July, August, September, October, November. So as you can see, the opening business is still going, but it's less. So as you can see, 55,000 business opened. Still opened, and the number is decreased, 53, 51,000, 50, 49, and it's still going down with those lockdowns. The continuing business are still good amounts, so 758,000. I want to read the numbers, but you can just read it yourself and see how many business are closing, how many business are active as we speak. This one shows you, the business per province or territory. So as you can see, change from April 2019 to April 2020, the active business. So this one has declined minus 10% in Newfoundland. Sorry, in Canada overall. In Newfoundland, it's minus 11%. So every province is affected differently. So those numbers are again from Stats Canada, and this is the source where I got those information. On the other side, this is what I wanted to show you from Bloomberg. Microsoft, for example, the number of users that use Microsoft Teams went so high. It reached 120 million subscribers in October last year. So with the pandemic, with that shift, there is tons of jobs, but in a specific area. So that's why you need to search on those areas. Microsoft is again working on lots of areas, and there's tons of opportunities. If you want to check the Microsoft career website, you may find some opportunities that match your skills as well. So this is also another number that shows you the shift that happened. The Zoom customers with more than 10 employees went up 485%. The online grocery sales in the US went up 310 points. DoorDash orders, and so as you can see, those are the businesses that went up because of the pandemic and because of that transformation. So shipments of Chromebook, hours of videos watched. So those Walmart US e-commerce sales, Amazon North America, again, those are business where you could find jobs and you can work. So Uber got affected, Lyft got affected, gross bookings, Expedia, those definitely got affected. I want to pause here and maybe open up if anyone has any question. Otherwise, I can continue to move forward. Any questions, any comment on the numbers or the thing that I just shared?
I just wanted to say you're right, Ahmed, that although it's somewhat of a gloomy picture initially, but whenever there's gloom, there's also opportunities, and we just need to look for those opportunities to the bright side. Absolutely,
thank you. Yeah, no, again, we as you just mentioned, whenever a door closes, two more doors open. So just have your mindset on that, and be positive in what you're doing, so that you can really get to the job that you love. Thank you, Ramzi. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, moving on. So I'm gonna speak a little bit in the next. Yeah, Mike, do you want to share anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to say it depends on what sector you're in, because I know that the IT sector is extremely hot now.
Absolutely.
There's so many different options. So many companies are hiring, and you think it wouldn't be like that during the pandemic, but for some reason, IT, like the IT sector is really, really booming. Like, I mean, there's a shortage of software developers in the city, a shortage of testers in the city, for example. And honestly, and if one person gets interviewed, they're in 2 or 3 different processes. So, I mean, it's not like, the jobs are rare. No, they're very, very plentiful, very plentiful.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, no, again, thank you for that, Mike. And to your point, even the interviewing, shifted to, software. And I don't want to tell names, but I know that somebody did an interview last week through a camera without any person doing the interview with them. So even that experience is changing due to the pandemic and due to the automation and the future of work. So what's happening? What is the shift that is happening? So this is just the era that we lived in the past few millions of years. So initially there was the hunter-gatherer era, where your talent was just your speed and strengths. You just go for hunt, and your tools just labor efficiency. And then when the agriculture era came, it just how know-how plus stamina, and this is what was your talent at the time. And then the industrial era, you just efficiency and optimization. Now with the information era, the acquired knowledge and skill are the most important, and your tools is cognitive reduction. So today we are in what is called the augmented era, and this is a thesis that was done by a lady called Heather McWane, and she spoke. She has a very nice YouTube if you want to see the whole video about the future of work and how this shift happened. So as you can see, today we are here. We're in between the information era and the augmented era, but unfortunately, our minds or our mental models are still in that period, or, where we go to the factory, we punch in, we do the job for 8 hours, and then we go out. So again, I don't want to say everybody, but so many of us could be still in that mindset that you just go for a job 8 hours, you do the same thing every day, and you go out. That's not the case anymore. Okay, so this is again the thesis that she did. What is the old economy paradigm? So previously, you get into an education, you go to university, you get a degree, then when you get a job after you get the degree, then those education guys did their job. They put you on the first step of the ladder, and then you go into the job. Then the success managers become how to promote in the same job, but in the same company. So you continue in the same company for years, and then you go into pension, and then the life expectancy is just like 2 years after you get out of pension. So so this is the old economy, the model. That's not there anymore. So today's world, the new reality is that you learn, and again, you see today some people are working without getting a degree. So it depends on what you really learn. It depends on what you really consume and on how you use it. So it's very important to understand the importance of learning and how it could really help you, pass this period and pass any other period, and continuously learn as you go. So you learn, and then you engage, and then you go back and learn new things, and you keep doing this every day or almost every month or every week. So the market is changing. The market is not stopping from changing. So whatever you learned or maybe 1 year back, maybe today is not really suitable for what you're doing. So you have to keep learning new things to continue move ahead with the market, continue move ahead with this shift that is happening. And again, the life expectancy is increasing to 90 plus years. And as per the thesis, it tells like there is more than 20% of the people who are 60 plus that are still in the workforce today because of the need, and also because of the learning. So this is something that I just wanted to share with you. So again, the old formula that you just get a job, you get a degree, credential, and you say you have that degree or your training, and then you know some few things, some talent, some skills, and then you could become employable. This is again the old formula of work. So this is not the case anymore. In today's world, you just need to know the culture, understand the values and conduct aligned for that company, so that you become aligned with that company. Otherwise, this becomes out of sync. So if you're not really aligned with the company's culture, you will not get that fit. And then you have some, again, raw talent and skills, evidence, capabilities, something that you already produce or something that you know how to do. And then it's the multiplier here is the learning agility. How much learning can you, learn and be agile? Thomas, I see you raise your hand. Can I just finish that thought and then I can get you to speak? So the learning agility, again, this is very important, and this is a compound that makes you more employable, and your value become very high. And as you can see today, there is people who get millions of dollars because their value is so high, and there is nobody like them. And I've heard about somebody who has been hired by, I guess, Amazon and Google were fighting to get him hired, and at the end of the day, he got almost $1,200,000 a year just to accept the job. Can't remember which company, managed to get him, but this is a true story. Go ahead, Thomas. You had a question.
Yeah. So for me, so when I came to Canada, I had this feeling. I don't know if these apply for you, but I feel that here in Canada, especially because as we had in different meetings and workshops, we know Canada is a specialist country, so they prefer specialists, and most of us immigrants, we come from the places that are more generalist. So you don't feel here in Canada that way, like get a credential and then apply a job and those things. You don't feel here is stronger than in your country, for example, because when I see here, even if you go be a bartender or something like that, even if you go to work in Walmart and you're gonna sell beer or any alcohol, you need a kind of certification. So you don't feel here in Canada this is stronger than in different places. Did you
So
get my point?
no, if you want to maybe just rephrase your question, I want to just
Okay.
make sure I understand.
So you were saying that before the way work we apply to work and we do work was like get credentials, then do
Yeah,
skills, and then you're gonna get a job, right? So,
yeah,
but here in Canada, when I came here, I still feel here you need credentials for everything you do.
yeah.
So,
And
so
again,
I
that's
don't feel here in Canada if you don't have any credentials, you're gonna be able to get like your the job you want to have, like, because even the small thing here, you need to go with the government or regulation or everything and get a type of certification, or you don't feel like the
yeah.
same here.
So if I understand your question correctly, what you're saying is in Canada we still need so many certifications to get to the job. That's what you're
Yeah.
saying? Yeah. So that's partially true because again, and that's why Canada we're suffering. There is business that is closing because they cannot find the talent, and there is people who are unemployed because they cannot find jobs, and this is where we are, and that's why the pandemic made this big issues, like the deficit that we are in today is just because of that gap. But to illustrate, there is some job that you may not know about, but those exist, and those jobs could pay you a very good amount of money, and you don't really need a certification. Or so if, let's say, if you're a good software developer and you're really, really, really good, and even if you don't have any certification, companies will hire you. If you're good in security aspects, and maybe Mike, feel free to chime in here based on, again, your recruitment.
And that's true, and especially from countries that are recognized for their technology excellence. Like Brazil is known for software developers and network engineers. Poland's known for its network and for its software development. Romania, those Eastern Bloc countries are very, very strong in software development. Egypt is known very strong for network engineers, software development, project managers, and pharmacists. I know that.
Yeah.
So and for them, it's a ticket for them to get out of the country. Like you've got to find a skill set that you feel that's going to flourish somewhere else, where you're able to get out from where you're living now. And those are the skilled people are. But Brazil is known very, like they're very good software developers and network engineers. So
absolutely, yeah. And again, Thomas, it's just, you may not find those jobs in the advertisement, or in the normal way that you're searching for. Those jobs are really very niche, and you will need to be hunted for it. So you need to have developed something that really makes you unique, and companies will hunt you. They will chase you. It's the other way around.
Yeah, sure. I just feel that here in Canada, this is still not a reality. Like they still are very attached with the certification and those things, even if you are going to do a small thing.
Absolutely. And again, this is why we're suffering here in Canada a bit in terms of our economy and the way we're dealing with the pandemic and other things. I agree. Okay, so I guess this one we already covered. So I just wanted again to show you the progression. Previously in 1917, for example, companies were all about natural assets, and then this shifted, in the 60s to the human-made assets. IBM, Kodak, GM, Standard, and AT&T. And then, in 2017, it was all about, digital assets. Those big companies now are all, if you can see, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Alphabet. Those are the one that is generating billions of dollars nowadays, and they're all digital. Yeah. So this shift is similar to that paradigm shift and the era shift that we just spoke about a few while ago. So now, with the velocity of change, previously you could take 3 generations to absorb one change. In the 1750 to 1850, there was one change, the steam engine, that took like 3 generations to absorb that change, and then it reduced, become like one change into 2 generations. The engine, electricity, telephone, and television. Now, it could be one generation that go through multiple changes, and this is where you can see, like in today's world, you have internet, mobile, Internet of Things, automation, cyber. So this is huge shift, and sometimes your mental mindset gets stuck on the old paradigm. So this is where your mindset is very key on getting yourself ready for those changes, and how do you really handle those changes.
And the good thing is, with those changes, the youth, the kids, the next generation, they're all growing up with that technology and that change, and they'll adapt and move with the necessary technology. So it's not like when it was when I was young.
Yeah.
it wasn't any of that at all. But now you can see it. Kids are they're coding now at maybe 7, 8 years of age, 10 years of age. They're, you know,
Yes. Yeah.
it's what it is. They're
True.
learning early.
Yeah. Again, like, you know, some kids already, they drop school because they already find a job they could really excel in their career without getting that degree. And there's so many cases like this today. Okay, so moving on. Previously, again, the world was complicated. Like, you know, you have metrics, you have, different structure of reporting, but normally your boss knows everything. Your boss is the one who could, guide everybody because he or she has done this job before, and they could, tell you how to do it. Today's world is different. It's complex. Like your boss doesn't know what you're doing, and they expect you to be the best person to tell him or her about, which decision they should take, and they rely on you. So if you don't have that mindset that you cannot really go back to your boss and ask him or her if that's right or wrong, then that's difficult for some people to get around. You always need somebody to tell you, yeah, this is good, this is bad. Now you will tell your boss, yes, do this or don't do that. So imagine that shift. It's not easy. The road ahead. So again, this is what is going to happen. This is some speculations by McKinsey, by IBM, by GSV. So McKinsey is saying that 75 to 375 million workers may need to switch occupations by 2030. So that's again a huge shift. So whatever job that you're gonna work today is not gonna be there in 2030. So by the time you reach 2030, you need to find so many other ways to keep going. And the normal thing in the next 10 years or so, that so many people will lose jobs, and they will again get back to the jobs if they can get themselves skills. So whether you're working in a big company, like for me, I'm working for Microsoft. It's not about keeping working with if I continuously not develop myself, they will get rid of me easily. Because again, it's moving. If I'm not moving with them, I'm not needed anymore. So I have to be ahead of the game, and I continuously develop myself. Again, 14% of the global workforce need to reskill. So again, this is by the McKinsey report for automation. 100% of the workforce will need to adapt. This is by IBM. The GDP will increase from 7% into education spending to 12%. So again, you see how much money is going to be spent on education and learning in the next few years.
Just to add to that, Ahmed, when you're talking about being reskilled or changing changing courses during your career, I belong to a network engineering group. I used to anyways in Toronto, where there was I think 60 or 70 people in this group that this one person had that I knew well. And I'd go down once every couple of months to some of the sessions, and they had one guy there that was, and the topic was automation and SD-WAN. This is about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and he said to the room of about maybe 30 network engineers, if you don't learn how to script and write code and pick up Python, you will be left behind. Within 10 years, you'll be a network administrator. You will not be a network engineer. And slowly, a lot of them started to go with that mindset and improve their skills and learn that technology, because it's coming and it's already here. So yes, always improve your skill.
Thank you, Mike. Good point. Okay, so this slide is just work change. We must retire these questions. What do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? What's your major? What do you do? So those questions, again, my daughter, she's in high school. She's going next year to university. Those questions are very tough for her. What she really want to do, and because everything is changing. 65% of the jobs, that does not exist yet. Those are still gonna come. Like previously there was nothing called Uber driver. There was nothing called, digital marketer or content writer. There is, I think, physiotherapist for pets nowadays. Those jobs were not there. So again, those numbers or those jobs are not existing. So you may want to create a new job for yourself, based on your skills, based on your talent. And 47% of those jobs that we have today will be automated by 2033. So whatever you see now, maybe in Walmart or Costco, the self cashiers, those things are coming, and the people who are counting on the door, those guys will disappear after a while, because there is going to be sensors that will tell how many people entered, how many people got out, without really having that person to waste, their time. And if you have a major, you could, 27% of people only work within their major. But if you have a degree, you could, work in 17 jobs in 5 industries. Again, if you have the right skill. So, this is just, a very important thing. Skills matters, and, learning matters here. So the traits of successful people, every person or company can tell you what they do. For example, you make products or services, they can describe, but some people, some companies will tell you how they are special. For example, you have great technologies, some skills. The best people or the companies will tell you why they exist. So the why is very important, and if you have seen Simon Sinek, the book Start with Why before, it's a core thing that you need to understand, because if you're not convinced of what you're doing, your why is not clear, you're not gonna help yourself. You'll always be trying to copy and paste thing that is happening from people, but you're not finding yourself. You need to find the why for you, and find the why for a company that makes you both work together in one mission. So then it becomes easy for you to adapt. So
you got to differentiate yourself. That's the key.
Exactly.
So that is the key.
Yeah. So I really recommend that if you didn't see the Simon Sinek TED Talk that was done 10 years back, it's very popular. It got almost millions of hits. You should see it. It's very inspireful, and it will tell you exactly why the why for you is important. Okay. So again, I'm not gonna speak more about this here, but again, the why is very, very important, that you discover your why. So think differently. Agile learning mindset. So previously, again, we used to plan for years and years ahead. Like, I want to take a degree and then become a doctor, become an engineer, become something. So this is my long-term plan. Today is all about agility. You want to plan for the next month, plan for the next 6 months, plan for the year maybe, and you have to have that mindset that things change quickly. Things, you adapt to those changes as soon as you can. So this is again some slide about the shift. You get the degree, you work, then you retire, and with the new economy, you learn and unlearn. So there's things that you still need to unlearn, because again, if you keep feeding your brain with things that is outdated, this is not going to help you, because the shift is happening, and your brain has a specific capacity of availability or bandwidth. So if you don't remove things from your brain and forget it, then you are loading your brain, and then you become stressed. So you have to unlearn some of the things that you learned before that is not working anymore, to learn those new things that is working today. You want to add anything, Mike?
No, and you're absolutely right about that. When you say bandwidth, that you're overload, yes, you've got to, but most people in technology really thrive on learning new technology. And there's always new technology being developed. And for those that have a thirst for it, it's great. But then you do get some people that are just like to remain the status quo and not, really do their everyday day-to job, 8 hours a day, punch out, go home, but not really trying to improve. So,
Yes.
so true.
Yeah, true. And so again, if you think about it, if you think maybe you just go for a minimum wage or survival job and just go with it, you're putting yourself at risk. You have to move ahead. You use those jobs just as a step and then move ahead, because those jobs will be gone. Whether you like it or not, it's gonna go away in the future. So again, this is a little bit of the difference between the old economy and the new reality. You learn and then you do, then you produce a unit of value. In the new reality, you learn to learn, and then you learn and do, and you understand your why. Then your goal is you increase your capacity, and that's where you produce that unit of value. So it's not about just getting things done, it's getting things done smarter and efficiently and in less time. So that's the new shift here. So those are some of the resources where I gathered those information. So in summary, you need to continuously learn and unlearn. This is again a very important thing, that is not just learning. You need to unlearn things that is not working anymore, because those things are delaying you. Those things are putting you back. So you have to remember to remove those things from your mind, to leave a capacity for the new learnings, and clarify your purpose. Know your why. The why is again something that is key for you to succeed. If you don't know your why, you will continuously try to learn this and learn that, learn this and learn that, and then you will find yourself didn't really do much at the end. So but if you know your why, you know what really inspires you, what motivates you, what's your mindset, what works for you, and you go do it and continue doing it until you get it, then that value will show to the employer. They will really hire you for that. And the last thing is the use of data. The more you're able to analyze data and get those data to work for you, and you understand the shifts and what's happening, then this would again make you more employable and more in the market. Okay, I guess that's it from my end. So if you have any questions, we can maybe open up for a Q&A. So I see Elaine just wrote, I believe that regardless of the area you work in, we have to keep in mind that we will always have to learn new things to follow the market. Absolutely, Elaine. So you're just another great example, Elaine. So you work for bookkeeping and you had to take that QuickBooks degree or certification to be able to move ahead with your job. So this is the right thing, and this is absolutely the best approach that you've done, and I really appreciate what you've done. Do you want to share anything from your side, Ellen?
No, like even in Brazil, I had the same idea that we have always to be updated. Like I used to work with taxes, and every month you have something new. So I'm always learning new things and update myself to keep my job, to do my job like great.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, for me, for example, in 2010, Nokia was I was working for Nokia at the time, and the recession happened, and they were laying off more than 25% of their workforce, and I was about to get jobless. So I took my PMP, I got it, and then I managed to stay in the work because of that degree or that certification and that learning. So not everybody in my team at that time had that PMP. So good point.
You had the advantage.
Exactly. Good point. Anyone else wanna share or maybe open up for Q&A?
Oh, it's very good. It's and you're right about that. Like sometimes you got to reskill yourself in order to get back into the workforce, whatever it is. I was watching the news the other night, and they were talking about the pandemic in regards to the amount of healthcare people they need to administer the vaccines. And there's like 1,418 foreign trained doctors in this country, and only 415 will get accepted into getting recertified in Canada. So, you know, you've almost got 1,000 people that have been doctors, GPs, whether they're, you know, from the Middle East, from wherever, and they're driving taxi, working at Subway, whatever the case may be. If they could train them, having an understanding of what their background is, and help with this, I think it'll alleviate some of the pressures that's on the system now.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy. But anyways, it is what it is,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, no, this shift or this change is going to affect all governments all over the world. And, you know, if they don't really do that, it's going to be tough to compete. So, good point. Okay, any other questions? And I know that, you know, this was maybe a little bit could be depressing for some people, but, you know, again, think about the other side of the story, the half-filled part of the cup, you know, because there's tons of opportunities. You just need to change your mindset and focus on the areas where, you know, the opportunities are available so that you can really get those opportunities. That doesn't mean that everybody needs to be in IT, but, you know, IT is going to be everywhere, you know, like, you know, just think about it now. Real estate, they need software to, you know, send you, you know, locations and maps and everything, you know. Accounting, they always need software. Banking, they always need software. HR, they always need software. You know, healthcare, they are all working with software and IT. So again, you know, if you think about it, you know, it's gonna be everywhere. The idea is to, you know, gain some skill that would make you ahead of your crowd with the software or with the IT skilling, digital skills. So 1, 2, 3, smile. Perfect. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate your time. I hope this was, you know, valuable or you know, of value to you. And I hope to see you again on Sunday for the next session. Thank you so much.
Have a good night. See you soon.
See you soon.
Yes,
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.